I don't even know if you guys understand or get the implications of what well, I can't say that because there's some super smart people watching my videos, but there is no ghetto philosophy right now, right? It just is just that sublime abstraction. I love it, right? To become what you already are, what does that even mean? Just think about that, right? Think about that. Freaking genius stuff, I love it. So, alright, that's the end of I apologize for the absurdity of this abstraction. I remember what I said, put an asterisk by this lecture. Section 1.1, make a note to yourself. Number 4. The artist imbues, this is me, the artist imbues the objective world with meaning. Imbues, infuse, gives, the artist gives the objective world meaning. Rare Art took his palette and put colors on it, and he actually filmed it, which was, that is, not only did he produce art, he does what I do, but on a much better level, because you get to see Rare Art produces art. And then he added even more art to it by making it 3D and psychedelic, and Rare Art, you're on another level, dude. You're like on some like Daniel Johnston of art. You're on another level. So the artist imbues the world, the objective world, with meaning. Here's a quote from Heidegger. Very important. The architectural work is in stone. The carving is in wood. The painting is in color. The linguistic work in speech. The musical composition in sound. There is a sense in which the objective world, the facts of the matter, the material world, is imbued with meaning by the artist. The artist shapes the objective world, both figuratively and literally. The carver literally shapes the objective world. And the sculpture isn't the wood, it's in the wood. For those of you who understand Aristotle's efficient cause, then you have an idea of what's happening here, right? It is the means with which, the process with which the artist actually goes about transforming the objective, mundane world into something that's sublime, into something that's artistic. It's that, right? The sculpture is in the stone. The carving is in the wood. The wood and the carving are two separate things. The carving is itself manifest in the wood. And where did that manifestation come from? It came from the artist. Right? So for us to understand the relationship between what art is and the work of art, we have to first recognize that this relationship is facilitated by this process of being inside of the object. Like this thingly element. Very abstract terminology. So let's look briefly at this. Let's look briefly at this point. Okay, so first picture, we have a person here. This is letter A and this is letter B. And we have the objective world. There is a functional relation with the objective world. I'll explain what that means in a second. We manipulate, you should be following along, we manipulate the object for our own ends. So, you can imagine that there's a chair, and here I am, and I want to sit, so I do in the chair. Simple. There's a chair, want to sit down, so I sit down. Right? I manipulate the objective world to conform to my needs. Right? And there is a sense in which, like, AC in the state of Florida is the greatest invention ever because it's super hot outside. So we recognized that we needed to keep cool in the absence of caves, in the evolution of our, progression into humanity, to further, deeper, more meaningful humanity, we need to have ACs. So we transform the world so that we could have AC. Sort of, duh. There is a difference, though, between A and B. Here, in B, so this is functional, what I would call a functional relation. In B, we have artistic transformation. The artist transforms the objective world. Heidegger says that the carving is in wood, the wood being the objective world, as sort of functionally pliable. The carving, however, does not exist within the world until it exists within the world. The carving is a product of artistic creativity. That should be clear, okay? The object, last bit on the first image, the object imbued with meaning from the artist manipulates us. Think about this. We, in a functional, oh, and I forgot to tell you, this is the functional relationship between an individual and the objective world. This is not a functional relationship, right? This relationship is an, I should have written that in red. This is truly an aesthetic relationship. I want you to understand what art is, because the whole piece from Heidegger is on the origin of art, but also the title of the series isn't about art. The title of the series is about aesthetics. An aesthetic relationship is different from a functional relationship. In a functional relationship, we manipulate the object. And right now we're talking about objects, right? Literally stuff, not people. That's a more complex discourse. At this point, to be clear, we're talking about works of art as objects, actual objects in the world, physical stuff, or virtual digital stuff, stuff that stimulates your mind or your eye. And I mean mind in the biological, neurochemical sense. So we manipulate the world here. In an aesthetic relationship, it's not the case that we manipulate the object manipulates us. An aesthetic relationship is a role reversal of our typical mundane sort of being in the world for a more sublime relationship with the world, if you will. I don't want to, and now I'm getting deep, right? When I look at that piece, I don't look at that piece with the intent to functionally transform the piece. The only thing I can do to that piece is relocate it or destroy it. When I put it in the cellar, it's more like a potato. When I put it up on the whiteboard for the world to see, it becomes what it's supposed to be and what it already is, which is art. Right? Now, my presentation of that image to you, of Rare Art's image of robots fighting humans in a rose garden for information, which is the title of the piece, you don't have a relationship like you do to a spoon, a cup, a car. You don't affect it. It affects you. It influences you. You are manipulated by the work. Like I manipulate this. That art piece manipulates me, so that the roles have transformed. An aesthetic relationship is exactly that, at a very foundational level. We're going to build so much complexity on this, this is going to be freaking ridiculous. But the idea is at this foundational level, and this is not trivial, this is a very important insight, is that when the artist, and artists know this, they might not know this with the amount of sort of precision with which I'm articulating it now, but they know this. I'm creating this piece because I want this piece to affect you. You don't have the power. I don't have the power to affect the piece. I am there being affected by the piece. That's the foundation of any aesthetic relationship that you can possibly conceptualize. I'm giving you grand narrative stuff here, right? Not sort of trivial, instantiated, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, first bit, really dense. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I don't want to erase that one. Let's go to B. So beneath that I have B.